5 seconds. Hey, welcome to the OST, the Opinionated Sports Talk Show with your boy Brian on this Tuesday night. I was going to do it last night, but I wanted to watch the Warriors game. Like I say, I'm a diehard Warriors fan. Playoff time's happening. So, got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to talk about the NBA playoffs. I don't think I'm going to talk any football. Talk about what happened today with the NBA lottery happened today and who got the number one pick. I believe it was the Suns that won the lottery. But I want to get some things off my chest. I really want to get some things that have been kind of I don't know. It's people this LeBron Jordan thing. I want to give you my intake on that. What I think about that, and I'm gonna talk about Joe Montana being one of the people have this misconception, this weird thought that he's like the best quarterback and he's in the top 3 or top 2, and I'm gonna tell you why I think it's crazy. I'm gonna talk about the 2010 San Francisco Giants, that they were probably one of the luckiest teams to win a World Series. I got some numbers for you. I got some information on that. But thank you guys for joining me on the OST, the Opinionated Sports Talk Show. Debate, dispute, controversy. Tweet at me at your boy Brian. Where's that right there? Your boy Brian 25. We got a lot going on here. Let me start with this. Let me give a shout out to the groups that allow me to post in their sports groups. If you're looking for sports groups to get involved with, a lot of these groups, I pick these ones because they're very active, very popular, a lot of members. There's All Sports All Day, very good one. All We Talk, there's Sports Society, All Sports Discussion, Anything Sports, Sports Cave, Rep Your Team, Talk Trash, All Sports Domination, Sports Mayhem, Sports Cave, Anything Sports, All Sports, well no, I'm sorry, I already said All Sports. We'll be at All Sports Domination. Already said Mind of Entertainment and Sports and Entertainment. Max Salt Chamber. Inside Sports Source. The National F-Bomb. I like that one. That has a cool little name. Sports Talk 365. The Sports Jungle. Shout out. What's going on? National Sports Group. 365 Sports. And a league of its own sports. I wanted to give a shout out. Thanks, guys, for letting me join you in this group. I also want to give a shout out to Guru. Organic energy drink. It's all organic, no GMO. Tastes good too. I mean, it really does. It tastes a lot better than a lot of those other energy drinks. It's all organic. It's energy now, no crash later. I also wanted you guys to check out a sports app called Sports Connect Us. Really cool app. You post pictures, you have discussions. It's called Sports Connect Us. Go ahead and check that out. So let me start with this. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs first. I'm going to start with the Warriors and Rocket game, what I saw yesterday. A lot of people, even myself, was anticipating a good game. I was anticipating that this is going to be a good series, a good game, but what I saw last night, what I observed in last night's game, I'm going to tell you, if the Rockets continue to play like that, and the Warriors continue to play like that, it's going to be a sweep. Houston absolutely has no chance to win this. They're a dribble, then shoot team. Yeah, Harden gives up distributes the ball well, has a lot of assists, almost average a triple-double. I get all that. But they looked horrible yesterday. There was I believe 4 24-second shot violations in the first half, which is ridiculous. If you watch them play, if you watch the game last night, they were dribbling the ball for 20 to 22 seconds, and then they would dish the ball off or shoot. You can't get good shots out of that. You're creating no space. You're not giving the shooter opportunity. Yeah, Harden put up a lot of points and he had a good game, but I don't care. You can put up all the points you want. You can score all the points you want. You can look good, pad those stats. But if you don't win the game, it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing. It's like baseball. If you can go 4-4, hit 2 home runs, and have 6 RBIs, but if you lose 6-7, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Harden's MVP, he's going to be, yeah, he probably will be. I mean, the MVP and the awards period in the NBA are pretty much a joke anyway, but they give them to people that are non-deserving. But I saw D'Antoni his style of coaching works for Harden's kind of play. I'm not sure that it works for a Chris Paul kind of play, but it's been working all season. Had the best record. They're the number 1 seed in the Western Division. But I just saw a horribly ran offense last night. They ran. All they did was dribble, and then shoot. And on the other side of the ball, the Warriors played their style of basketball, which is a revolutionary type of game. Pass, create space, create an opening. Whoever has the best shot, you go ahead and take it. And I've said this last time when Durant joined the Warriors. This is Durant's team. Durant just takes over. You could tell this guy's hungry and he wants to win this. He was, when you talk about the greatest player in the game right now, everyone says LeBron. You have to throw Durant in that conversation. Durant is an absolute, the guy's a baller. If you don't like him because he went to another team or he went to a team that won 73, whatever your case may be, give credit where credit is due. And I'll tell you, Durant is a baller. You cannot be wrong by saying Durant is better than LeBron in the game right now. You cannot be wrong if you say LeBron's better than Durant right now. Those are the 2 best players in the game right now. You can flip-flop them, it doesn't matter. But Houston played last night. If they continue like that in game 2, there's no chance for them to win. Unless Harden puts up another 40 and someone else on the team puts up another 40, that's the only way they're going to win. They're one-dimensional team. James Harden is a liability on defense. He plays absolutely zero defense. He is a liability. You can't trust him on defense. So you got 4 guys guarding 5 players. 4 of them are, in the top 15 players in the NBA right now. You don't got the size. They try to play small ball like they did last, like the Warriors usually. They try to match up to them. That didn't work. It started off at a very good pace for Houston. Came out, they made a lot of shots. They were on fire. Started early. They took an early lead. But once that slowed down, once the Warriors sped up and caught up with Houston, it was a complete disaster. I actually thought it was going to be a good series. And now I'm going to take it all back, and I'm going to be a flip-flopper and say this is going to be a 5-1, a 4-1 series. Probably, it depends on game 2, if Houston could win a game in Houston. If they could win a game in Houston, see, the only chance Houston has is a home game because they do have home court advantage through the playoffs. That's the only chance they got. And the Warriors, they played last night on a different level. They played on a complete different level. The way they were creating shots, they had a lot of open space. Durant took control of that team. Curry was playing well. Clay was playing well. The only problem I have with my Warriors is Draymond needs to calm down. He's too emotional. He gets too involved with feelings in that game. There was no need for him to push Harden in the first quarter. Absolutely no need to. We don't need him to get suspended again. We saw what happened when he got suspended in one game, and it really cost the Warriors because Clay plays a very good defensive game, but without Draymond, I feel Draymond is the emotional leader on the team. He's the energy behind his team. He's the vocal leader on this team. And he without him, you lose a lot. The matchup between Steph and Paul and Harden and Klay Thompson, don't expect this to be a defensive game. Expect this to be a very, like it was last night, high-scoring, of points kind of game, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. I just see it being a series that is not gonna. I'm gonna tell you I'm wrong. I have no problem telling you when I'm wrong, but I'm gonna tell you right now that series, if it's gonna continue to be like that, they absolutely have. The Houston Rockets have no chance. As good as James Harden is, and as smart as Chris Paul is, Chris Paul has one of the highest basketball IQs in the game, I believe. The style of play that D'Antoni's never coached in the finals, that's going to hurt him. He doesn't have the experience. He's got to the dance, but he's never took the prom date home. And that's what it's all about. The experience, like I said, have a franchise. You got to have. This is what I think. You got to have good. You got to have good guards. You got to have good. Let me take that back. You need to have good shooting guards. John Wall, where's he at? Russell Westbrook, where's he at? What's going to happen to James Harden? Where's he going to end up at? The Warriors have good shooting guards. They have people that can attack the rim. They have a rim protector. Durant is playing his best defensive. He had his best defensive year in his career. It's just a situation that Houston needs to adjust, and I think that's what D'Antoni's issue is. He doesn't know how to adjust to the style of play that the Warriors put up. The general manager, what is his name? What's the general manager's name of Houston? It's on my other sheet here. I can't remember every general manager's name. General manager Daryl Morey, is that how you say his name? He's admitted to being obsessed with beating the Warriors, and that's what every team is trying to do. Every team is trying to get players to beat the Warriors. And all you haters out there that say, well, super teams are not good for the NBA, which is a bull of crock. All these people that say that Durant is soft, I don't even understand the cupcake thing. I guess that means he's soft. I don't get it. But went to a 73-win team, but they did lose after being up 3-1. They lost. So he didn't go to a championship team. But I just feel like D'Antoni's issue is he's not able to adjust. He's not able to make the proper adjustments to a team like the Warriors. And I just see the Warriors absolutely, unless it has to be two players on the Warriors, I believe, that have a bad game. Durant only puts up 25. Curry only puts up maybe 10. Curry's never going to put up 10, but Curry puts up maybe another 20, and then Clay and Draymond are off. And Chris Paul and James Harden could have good games, then I see that chance of them winning a game. But I see it going 4-1. I think game 2, if the Warriors go up 2-0, absolutely over. Absolutely over. Tweet at me at yourboybrian25. Tell me your thoughts. The podcast is live right now, but we are on iHeartRadio. And iTunes are the easiest way, but we're also on every other place you can find a podcast. Just type in Opinionated Sports Talk. We're soon to be on Spotify. Watch out, Spotify. We're coming. The Eastern Conference game, the Celtics played fantastic game 1. They absolutely looked really good. Let me tell you, Jason Tatum, he is the most solid rookie I've seen playing this year. He just looked solid in that game, looked really good, made LeBron James and that Cavaliers team look like they didn't belong there almost. But it's hard for me to go against LeBron James. He turns it up a notch. We've all seen it. As much as you hate him for his hairline, his flopping, comparing him to Jordan, you hate him because of that. That's fine. We understand. I'm going to talk about people that hate on success. But I just feel it's hard for me not to see the Cavs winning this series. They're winning the game right now, I believe, in Boston. It's hard for me to go against LeBron and the Cavs. Any team LeBron is on, he can pretty much carry that team. He's a leader. He's one of the best, if not the best basketball player in the game today. What they say on the planet Earth, which is probably true. But I'm just telling you, man, I cannot go against LeBron James and the Cavs. They have experience. We have I'm getting tongue twisted here. Too much energy drink. Guru energy. Check it out. They have the LeBron factor. When LeBron's on, when he wants, he's like Kevin Durant. When they want to win, they want to win. When they want the ball and they get the ball, they will absolutely turn that game around in a second. So it's hard for me. As much as I would like to see the Celtics, Warriors, something different. Of course, I want the Warriors to go in every year. But either team, if the Celtics make it, if they beat Cleveland, it's gonna be a 4-1 sweep series. As good as defensively teams sound, as good of a defense team sound. Did I say that right? Get a little tongue twisted because I get excited. You know, I'm gonna say something in a minute here about that. They're not going to be able to keep up the Warriors. They're not going to be able to keep up with the pace. Al Horford's a great defender, but he's not going to be able to compete with the outside shooting and the spacing and the shots that are created by the Warriors. The only chance the Eastern Conference winning a title is when you get LeBron James into the finals. But I'm rooting for Boston, and I'm not a big Boston sports fan. I don't know why. I can't tell you why I'm not a big Boston sports fan. Baseball, football, I don't like the Red Sox, don't like the Patriots, I don't like the Bruins, I don't like the Celtics. But I am pulling for them. But I just don't see it being a very lucrative game, a very good series if Boston makes. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Let me just say something real quick. You may hear me stutter. You may hear me get a little tongue-tied. You may hear me not pronounce words correctly. I didn't go to school for this. I wasn't a journalist. I wasn't a radio broadcaster. When I was younger, at a very young age, I had not a very, very young age, but 10, 11, 12 years old, I had a little stuttering problem. I stuttered a lot. I had issues getting my words out. I had to go to speech therapists when I was younger, and it still happens to me in this day, like it just happened right now. I was taught to slow down, see my words before they come out. And there's still words today that I cannot say it, pronunciate correctly. So bear with me. Hey, I just do this for fun. I love talking sports. So just bear with me. If you hear me stutter or not say a name correctly or something like that, that's why. So speaking of LeBron, okay, let's how much time I got left? Because I got a lot to say. I got a whole 40 minutes here. Hold on. This LeBron Jordan debate, it's endless. And that's fine. That's just the way sports goes. And people just kind of go with it. But I'm just gonna say that this LeBron Jordan thing is like, you have two sides, man. It's almost like, like a war going on here. Like, if you're a Jordan fan, you tend to hate LeBron. I don't know why. If you're a LeBron fan, you seem to hate Jordan fans. It gets really divided, and it really confuses me why. Can't we just say that they're the two best players that ever played a game? They pretty much are. In my top list, I go LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic Johnson's up there. I go when I base my theory, when I base what I'm thinking as who's the GOAT, greatest of all time. When I think about those, I go by what they did on the court, how long they did it on the court or the field, and what they accomplished. Now, I know people, the tiebreaker is always Well, Jordan has 6 championships. LeBron lost, and Jordan never lost, which to me is almost insane. Okay, championships, as much as that they are important, that's what every player plays for, that's what every kid plays for. When you're a little kid, you'd be like, Game 7, bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Badewski has the game-winning hit. You think about that. At the buzzard, it makes a shot. That's what we all dream of. That's what that's what they play for, is to get these championships and win. But in a team sport, you cannot sit there and tell me that just because one player has more championships than the next player, they're better. They are higher on the ranking board because they have more championships. In a team sport, it makes no sense to me. If that is the case, I'm going to tell you this, Jordan fans, you have absolutely, completely got it wrong. You don't know, you're blinded to the Jordan facts. Maybe you don't research basketball history. You don't understand how many people have won championships before. Bill Russell, 11 championships. 11. He won 8 in a row. I don't ever hear people talking about him being the greatest basketball player. I don't ever hear him being compared to Jordan. Why? You guys say that Jordan is better than LeBron because he didn't lose in championships. He won 3 in a row, and then he won 3 more. He won 6. He went 6-0. LeBron lost. But you guys don't say that, do you? 11 championships. That's almost double of what Jordan won. What's your excuse for that? Was it? And let me just say, when you talk about era, it makes 0 sense when you talk about era in sports. The game evolves, people change, just like life. People evolve, people change. They make the game safer. Not everybody agrees with it. Jordan played against players like Patrick Ewing and those guys, John Stockton and Karl Malone. He played with real basketball players. If you're going by that theory, if you're going with Jordan played in a different era and he has 6 championships, that's why he's better, then your theory is Jordan will, nobody from this point on in basketball history, nobody's ever going to pass Michael Jordan. Ever. Because they're not going to change the rules. They're not going to go back to the style of basketball they played before. A basketball player could come in the league, win 8 championships in a row, be the new scoring title champion of most points scored and MVPs, and demolish every stat that Jordan has put up. But you know what you're going to say, you Jordan fans? Well, different era. It's easier now, There's no hand check. They don't have players like Bill Laimbeer these days nowadays. He wouldn't be able to play back then. Makes no sense. But that's what you think, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's why I call the show the Opinionated Sports Talk Show. We debate, we dispute, and we cause controversy. And I'm not doing this rants about the Jordan thing. I'm going to get into the whole Joe Montana thing, which really going to tick a lot of people off later in the show. I'm not doing it just because I'm trying to get ratings or more listens and downloads. I'm fine with my ratings. I'm fine with my downloads and listens on iHeartRadio and iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and Podbean, and I'm good with listeners. I'm not desperate. I'm doing this because I see every sports group, that's all they ever talk about. Jordan this, Jordan that. And like I said, Jordan fans hate LeBron, and LeBron fans, they call them, LeBron lovers or whatever they call them. And then LeBron fans hate Jordan fans. It's an endless cycle, and you cannot be. It's a conversation, an endless conversation, debate that you can't be wrong at. You cannot be wrong. If you think Jordan's better than LeBron, you're right. If you think LeBron's better than Jordan, you're right. And people asked me yesterday when I was talking about this on the sports group was, how come Kobe Bryant is never put in this conversation? Well, Kobe Bryant is a whole different breed. He is a whole different breed to me when I think about greatest players. To me, elevating players around you is what's very important. It's what you do on the court, how long you did it, did you elevate people around you kind of play. And I don't think Kobe was as good as a player he is, as great as a player as he was. When you take 50 shots in your last game of the season, it shows selfishness. I always thought Kobe was a ball hog. He was selfish on the court. It was I want to be the star, not you kind of player. When you lead the NBA in shots missed, of course you're going to put up a lot of points when you shoot more than anybody else. It's like this. If I have we're both selling Guru energy drinks. If we're both selling these, but I asked 20 people if they want to buy this Guru. I go to 20 people. Hey, you want to buy Guru? And you only go to 5 people. Hey, you want to buy Guru? Who has a better chance of selling more Guru? You can sell all 5. But I asked 20. There's a good chance that I'm going to sell more. So that's my theory on the Kobe thing. He takes a lot of shots. He's a great basketball player. Don't get me wrong. One of the best of all time. Great. But when you take more shots than anybody else, of course you're going to score a lot more points than everyone else because you're taking more shots. So I exclude him for those reasons. And I'm biased and I'm not a Laker fan and I never really liked Kobe Bryant. But greatness does deserve to be mentioned and he is part of this greatness. Hold on one sec. I don't know if my Facebook is still live, but I had a recording issue set on the thing there. But we're on the podcast anyway. I just think the LeBron Jordan thing is going to continue on, and you cannot be wrong. It's an endless conversation that will not be wrong. But let's talk about this a little bit deeper. Let's get into some more than just my opinions. Let's get some facts here. Excluding championships, player efficiency rating. Jordan's first of all time at 27.9. Number 2, guess who? LeBron James at 27.7. Statistically wise, there's nothing really to separate them. You know, Jordan fans often use the postseason as a tiebreaker. Like, oh, well, the championship, which to me is a team sport. People always talk about how many Hall of Famers did Jordan play with, how many Hall of Famers has LeBron played with. And people keep mentioning Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, to me, is way overrated. He shouldn't even be in conversation. He only averaged 18 points when he was with Miami. When he was at Toronto, he averaged less than that. He was not some great player at the time. I don't think my Facebook Live is working, but we're on the podcast side anyway. But I'll post it anyway. I can post it. You know, and if you bring up the one-on-one situation, if you bring up, well, Jordan will beat LeBron in a one-on-one. Yeah, who cares, man? Who cares? I wasn't a great basketball player when I was a kid. There was some games I won. I was able to beat the best guy because I had a good day. So that you don't even mention that one. It seems like my Facebook Live is messed up here. Yeah, it's all messed up. But I'm still recording, and I'll just have to post it later. Let's talk about real stuff. All right, let's talk statistically. You can't really separate the two. 4 MVPs, 5 MVPs. 30,000 points, 27,000 points. It doesn't really matter. You can't statistically. You can't really separate the two. It's hard to separate the two when you talk statistically. Like I said, Jordan fans will use a tiebreaker, and that to me it's a real lame excuse. Oh, he won championships. Well, like I said before, if you're talking championships, then you have to exclude Jordan as being the best, because Russell has 11, almost double. 6 plus 6 is 12. He has 11, and he won 8 in a row, and he won one his rookie season. No one talks about him being the great. Why? Because he was on great teams. Oh, because of the era. Well, get out of here with that era stuff. That's the most ridiculous thing you can talk about. Oh, era this, era that. He played in different. Like, I'll repeat myself. Like I said, I get excited and I repeat myself a lot. If you're talking about era, if you're going to hold Jordan on the pedestal because of era, then with that theory, nobody will ever be better than Jordan. Ever. You can have a rookie next year come in, dominate the game, play 20 years in the NBA, 15 years in the NBA, win 10 championships in a row, 8 championships in a row, like Russell did. Lead in every statistical stat there is in the NBA. Oh, well, he's not as good as Jordan. Well, because the era, the era. Well, different era. Because they're not going to go back to the old way. They're just not going to go back and play hand-checking and they're just not. So with that theory, it doesn't make sense. I learned how to drive 3 on the tree stick shift, broken down Maverick with no seatbelt, no blinker. My blinker didn't work, but I learned how to drive. My son learned how to drive in a car with, rear view cameras and lane detection and automatic seatbelt. That doesn't make me a better driver because I learned in a different era. So that era theory's gone too. So, Jordan James, in my view, 2 greatest basketball players in NBA history. You can't be wrong. But let's just stick to, I can't grasp this theory about he's better because of championships. I apologize. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Oh, I don't know what's going on. My Facebook Live ain't working. It's... Hold on one second here. I don't know what's going on. My Facebook Live cut off after 31 minutes. Oh well. No Facebook Live, but I'll post it later. But we're still on anyway. But Jordan did have a stone cold, ice in his vein presence on the court. LeBron doesn't really seem to have that. But what LeBron has that Jordan doesn't have is this feeling, this way he wants everyone around to be great. He wants players to win games. He wants players to succeed. He wants them to have the spotlight. And I don't see Jordan, he didn't have that. He really didn't have that. What is going on my Facebook? It really ticks me off, man. Yep, it's not working. That's alright. Anyway, so, you look at stats, right? NBA season, they both played 15. Of course, 3 championships, 6 championships. 4 MVPs, 5 MVPs. Jordan has 5 finals MVPs. Jordan has 6, LeBron has 3. All NBA teams. Jordan had 11, James had 13. All defensive player of the year. Jordan had 9, LeBron had 5. So it's very hard to separate the two in statistic wise. But like I said, you just cannot be wrong if you're talking about Jordan or if you're talking about James, because they're both the same. I mean, they're both great players. And if you're talking about LeBron being one of the best, then guess what? He's got to be one of the best. He's got to be one of the best. Hold on one second here. Sorry, podcast. I just had to do something real quick here. You just can't be wrong in this situation. I'm going to try to create another Facebook Live on my camera there. I got a camera, but I'm still recording, so I'll still be able to post, but I just want to do this Facebook Live thing here. Wow. Go live. 3, 2, 1. So, you just can't be wrong. Let me check. I'm back live on Facebook. My recording messed up. So I still have, you can catch the last 25 minutes. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here. I'm kind of over this LeBron thing. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. It's just, if you're talking championships, then you got to throw Russell in there because Russell has 11, 8 in a row. Jordan only has 3 in a row twice. And I had a discussion with someone on one of the sports group. I said, well, Jordan retired. And he said, what does it have to do with anything? It has a lot to do with everything. A lot. When you playing constantly like LeBron James had, constant playing, almost leading the league in minutes played, and then you get to postseason almost every year. Every year you're in the postseason to the finals, which means you're playing more minutes than everybody. Jordan retired. He had fresh legs. He was able to come back, rejuvenate himself. He was able to have a little bit more energy. I think that's a very, very big factor. That's a very important thing. If I look a little sideways, it's because I'm recording on my camera and not on my phone at this time because I had a little problem with the recording. But, you just can't go wrong. If you like Jordan, you're right. You like LeBron, you're right. My opinion is, I was picking my NBA all-time team, if I had my number one pick, I'm taking LeBron. Bigger, stronger. His longevity is a lot more solid than Jordan. And when the importance, the MVP, the most valuable player thing I always talk about, how valuable he is to a team. Without Jordan, with Scottie Pippen running that team, they still went to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Knicks. Without LeBron, Cleveland was a disaster. They didn't win anything. They hardly won any games. So the importance of the player on a team, you think about that. Still very competitive team. And let's talk about Jordan had Phil Jackson. Very, Hall of Famer head coach. The guy is probably one of the best head coaches that ever played a game. But how many coaches and how many Hall of Fame coaches and how many great coaches has LeBron James had? You factor all those things into it. Let me check my time here. You factor all those into it, and it's something that you need to think about a little bit there. So, like I said, you can't be wrong. You can't be wrong. And if you're talking okay, there's two things that I don't even like discussing with people. I love debating and disputing and causing controversy. I love talking sports and doing that. But if you're going to talk about era, I don't want to hear it. It's ridiculous. And if you talk championships, it's ridiculous. I don't want to hear it. Find us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, soon to be on Spotify, the Opinionated Sports Talk Show with your boy Brian. Thank you to Guru, supplying all the Guru energy drinks to me. Check out the sports app called Sports Connect Us. It's an app that you go and check the categories of what sport you want to talk, and then you're in a group and you can post pictures, you can have discussions and post videos, watch videos, look at other pictures. Pretty cool little sports app. I want to give a shout out to that, give them some. I gotta keep checking my time because I got a lot to say here. Okay, I got a full 20 minutes. I want to talk about the 2010 San Francisco Giants. I'm from San Francisco. See the SF hat. But the 2010 San Francisco Giants was probably, it's got to be one of the top 3 luckiest teams to ever win a World Series. Look at that roster. How many All-Stars were on that team? How many dominant players were on that team? I mean, I'm looking at a roster I wrote down here. Benji Molina, clown. Buster Posey came in, started 105 games. I mean, we all know he's one of the best players in the game right now. Edgar Renteria, Cody Ross, Aaron Rowan, Freddie Sant, Nate Scherholtz, Andre Torres, Juan Uribe, Eli Whiteside, Pat Burrells, and Aubrey Huff. That was your starting team. Those are your players that won a World Series. It kind of proves my point that team chemistry, teamwork, and a team sport, and a team environment is very important. Cody Ross played 33 games. The highest batting average, Buster Posey, with 406 at-bats, he hit 309. All right, Nate Scherholtz, who wasn't a starter. Freddie Sanchez, who came to the team in a midseason trade, hit 292. The RBI leader for the Giants that year was Aubrey Huff, really. And you're talking about a world calibrated team. These guys were the greatest team. They got, in my opinion, they got very lucky throughout the playoffs. They had a solid pitching staff, but the pitching staff back then, let me tell you, there was no 20-game winner. The most wins on that team was Tim Lincecum went 16-10 that year. Matt Cain went 13-11. Barry Zito, he went 9-13 that season. You guys remember Jonathan Sanchez? He went 13-9. That was the best record. And Bumgarner was 18-18 that year. Very lucky team. Where are those players now? Let's go through this. Molina, I have no idea if he's playing. Posey, obviously one of the best. Edgar Renteria, retired. I don't know. Not that great. Cody Ross, I have no idea. Aaron Rowan, I have no idea. Pablo Sandoval, well, he's back. Freddie Sanchez, I don't know. Nate Scherholtz, maybe, probably still playing. Andre Torres, Juan Uribe, Eli Whiteside, Pat Burrell, Aubrey Huff. Jonathan Sanchez, Tim Lincecum. Jonathan, where are these guys? It was a very lucky season. I'm thankful for it. I loved it. I'm a San Francisco Giants fan. I used to give the Giants a really hard time because I was like, they've been here since 1950, blah, blah. And they never won the World Series. I was all frustrated. I said, my whole life, I've never seen them win a World Series. And they won one, so I was excited. I think the 2012 team was better, and the 2014 team was really good. But the 2010 team, just look at the roster. Look where they're at now. Dig up some facts. Dig up some statistics. Like what Aubrey Huff did before they got him. What did Pat Burrell do in his career before he got hot with the Giants and helped lead this team to a World Series? Aaron Rowan. Barry Zito. Yeah, he was good with the A's and he won a Cy Young, but overpaid, underachieved. It's a situation that was known in San Francisco. San Francisco Giants, that's what they were known. Brian Sabian, I think, is a very overrated general manager. Oh, he won World Series, though. He won 3. Thank you. But you're an overrated general manager, president now of operations or whatever you are on the Giants. I don't really care right now about Brian Sabian, but very lucky team. Eli Whiteside was your starting. Benji Molina was your starting catcher before Posey got there. Your best pitcher was Jonathan Sanchez with a 13-9 record. Tim Lincecum was 16-10 that year. Bumgarner, who was lights out, who's not playing right now, 18-18. Your RBI leader was Aubrey Huff, 86 RBI. Your home run leader was Aubrey Huff with 26 home runs. That is a good amount of home runs, but what did he do before that? What did he do after that? Very lucky team, 2010. Very lucky team. It's a team effort. Like I always say about team, they got hot at the right time, timely hits, solid pitching, great defense, and they won a World Series. If I told you this roster without telling you what team this was, I said, okay, Andre Torres, your leadoff man, Edgar Renteria batting second, or Freddie Sanchez back in second, Pablo Sandoval. If I told you the lineup, Aaron Rowan hitting fifth, Aubrey Huff cleanup. If I told you that lineup, you would think they only won 60 games that year. But they won a World Series. They went 92-70 that year. 92-70. One of the luckiest teams to win the World Series. Very lucky. Alright. It's time to get you guys mad at me. It's time to start some ish. Born and raised San Francisco. Lived here almost my whole life. I still live here now. I'm always rocking the SF stuff. Even got the SF on my shoulder there. Born and raised. And that tattoo's lame, huh? I got it when I was a little twisted. But there's one misconception, and it seems to happen with all these sports announcers, and I'm going to say it. They're absolutely wrong. Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Jackson. I know these guys are professionals and they went to journalism school and they've been on ESPN and they make millions of dollars. I get it. They're a lot better than me. Doesn't mean I can't say what I want to say. I'll go on their show and talk about this, and I'll give them my opinion and what I think is that. If I told you a player in the all-time list of all the stats that matter at this person's position, he ranked 17th, 16th, 15th. His highest ranking is 13th on the list. You would probably think this player is a good player, but not a great player, right? If I said, we're talking about football. If I said the NFL all-time passing record with Peyton Manning was 71,940. That's the most yards passed in the NFL. But if I said this player only has 40,551, big gap, right? He's 15th on the list. I'm sorry, 17th on the list. And I've said the most touchdown passes thrown by a quarterback of all time, 539. This guy has 273. What would you think? Doesn't, he's 16th on the list. It's not too bad. Out of all the quarterbacks playing in the NFL, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, right? Completions, 16th on the list. Completion percentage, 16th on the list. Quarterback rating percentage, 13th on the list. Yeah, good quarterback. There's a lot of quarterbacks that played the NFL, right? Hundreds of quarterbacks played in the NFL. To be 13th, 15th, 17th on the list, not bad. You're in the top 20. I want someone to have a discussion with me, have a debate as I dispute and we cause controversy on the OST. I want you to give me an argument why you think Joe Montana should be even considered in the top 10. People have him in the top 5, top number 1, top 3, top 5 of all time. Have a discussion with me. Tell me why you think Joe Montana is in the top 3, top 5 all-time quarterback, or maybe he's your top 1. Tell me why. Give me proof without saying anything about Super Bowls. Don't talk Super Bowls. Don't talk championship. Because football is the most team sport there is in all of sports almost. He plays one position out of 11 on one side of the ball. I don't care how good you are. You could be Tom Brady. You could be whoever you think is the best quarterback. You could be Peyton Manning. You could be Joe Montana. You're not going to win without great players around you. You're not going to win with a good offensive line. You're not going to win without a great defense. And let me tell you something. When Montana really started to shine, he was running an offense that nobody in the NFL has ever seen. Nobody. It was a whole new thing to these defenses. Defensive coordinators and head coaches had no idea how to defend this West Coast offense. Bill Walsh, complete genius. He played for Bill Walsh. One of the best head coaches of all time. Not because he won 4 Super Bowls, because he changed the game. He absolutely took a mediocre, above average quarterback, I should say, and made him shine. He took a regular football and shined it up good to look like it was brand new. When you're running an offense that nobody knows how to defend against, and you're dinking and dunking, and you have receivers like Jerry Rice on your team, there was a game against the Rams, Monday Night Football. I remember as a kid, he threw 2 slant passes for 4 yards, completed 4-yard passes. But Jerry Rice, John Taylor, took him to the house. 80-something yards, 90-something yards. Why does a quarterback get credit for those yards, first of all? And he had nothing to do with it. He threw the ball 4 yards. The receiver took it the other 90-plus yards. So this theory of Joe Montana being this great quarterback, and I'm going to tell you, born and raised San Francisco, 49er fan to the day I die. He's not even in the top 10 quarterback. He shouldn't be. He is on, if you look at every statistic that matters in a quarterback's career. Yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, completions, quarterback rating, all important. 17th in yards passing, 16th in touchdowns, 16th in completion percentage, 16th in completions, 13th in quarterback rating. Now have an argument with me, have a debate, have a discussion with me. Tell me why Joe Montana is great. Now, I will say this, clutch moments, this guy is lights out. Super Bowl, lights out. Last minute drive, lights out. That doesn't make him the greatest quarterback of all time. No one ever talks about Terry Bradshaw. He went 4-0 in the Super Bowl. But Terry Bradshaw was a horrible quarterback. Terry Bradshaw, to me, shouldn't even be on any list of great quarterbacks. What is the narrative? Championships? Well, you're wrong. Look at the teams that Joe Montana played with. And you put Phil Simms on that 49er teams. You tell me they don't win those Super Bowls? Maybe not the one against the Bengals because of the comeback that he threw to John Taylor to pass. Maybe not that one. But they win 3. If you're going with the greatest quarterbacks because they won Super Bowls, well, then you're telling me that Eli Manning was better than Dan Marino? Trent Dilfer was better than Jim Kelly? Absolutely not. It's almost insane that you think this quarterback, Joe Montana, I love the guy. I met the guy a few times in my life. I used to have his jersey. I gave it to my younger brother when I went and visited him and before he went overseas a few years ago. Well, it was a lot of years ago. I love Joe Montana. I'm a 49er fan. I love Joe Montana. He's my favorite quarterback of all times. Ice in his veins. That guy was solid in the postseason, especially Super Bowl. But if you look at it statistic-wise, if you look at what he did and the people that he's surrounded with and the situation he was in, he was above average quarterback. Smart guy, great athlete, but he doesn't crack the top 10 quarterbacks on my list. I have Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Warren Moon, quarterbacks that absolutely pass him in all those categories, but they never won a Super Bowl. I have them on a list way above Joe Montana. Oh, you're crazy, Brian. You're crazy. He ran an offense that nobody knew how to defend. Nobody knew how to defend this West Coast offense. This timing. If you watch the 30 for 30 or the Inside Sports or the NFL network, and they talk about Bill Walsh, how he set up this defense, like, drop back, head down or whatever, and you count 10 seconds, the receiver will be there. You throw the ball there, he will be there. Nobody knew about that. All defensive coordinators are scratching their head like, how do we defend against this? We've never seen anything like this. It was a vertical. It was a run and shoot kind of offense back then. But here comes the West Coast offense. No one knew how to defend it. He had Roger Craig, first running back in history, I believe, who had 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. Because running backs back then weren't catching the ball out of the backfield. We had tight ends with 50, 60 catches in double-digit touchdowns. That was all new back then. You didn't see that a lot. It was a whole different scheme that people took years and years to adjust, years to figure out. When Joe Montana went to Kansas City, he goes 8-3. He throws 2,144 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 picks. His last year, he goes 9-5, has a better season, throws for 3,283 yards, 16 touchdowns with 9 picks. If I read those are Colin Kaepernick has better stats than those. I know it's the end of his career, he's in Kansas City, but hey, I'm just pointing out facts here. I'm not making things up as I said. Have a conversation with me, have a debate. Why Joe Montana is on the top of your list. Other than, he won 4 Super Bowls. He never threw a pick in a Super Bowl. Get out of here with that bullcrap. Get out of here with that. It's a team sport, man. It's a team sport. We're talking about One player. How many players on a football roster? You have 11 on offense, 11 on defense, 11 on special teams, 11 on defense, special teams, 11 on field goal, punt. They have so many components. How many coaches do they have? They have a quarterback coach, running back, offensive line coach, linebacker coach, defensive line coach, a whole, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. So many coaches. It's such a big realm of people that one player, as good as he may be, can't win anything alone. It's a team sport. I'll tell you right now, if I was making an all-time great list of quarterbacks, of football teams, I should say, if I made 5 different teams, I said on my first team, I'm going this quarterback, this lineman, this wide receiver, I don't think Joe Montana is making any of those teams. Maybe as a backup, and I'll put him in. I'll put him in when it's time to get to the postseason in the World Series. So, how about them Lions? Well, let's see how they do if they ever win a playoff game. Every year I'm like, oh, the Lions, this is their year. This is their year. Every year I've been saying that since Dave Craig days and Steve Largent. No, Steve Largent was the Seattle Seahawks, and so was Dave Craig. But I get those teams mixed up, same colors. But ever since Rodney Peete and Herman Moore days, I always thought Detroit Lions and the Barry Sanders, this is their year, but they never win. They just forked over a lot of money to a quarterback. Hey, to people who are saying, hey, forked over a lot of money to a quarterback that hasn't won a playoff game. It's a team sport. It's a team sport. You got to think he's one player on one side of the ball of 11 players. Then he just sits on the sideline, doesn't do nothing while another 11 players go play the defense side of the ball. I just want people to understand that it's a team sport, first of all. And you can't put players on pedestals because of championships. You just cannot do that. If you're going to do that, then if that's the narrative that you're setting, then Jordan is in the middle of the list. Because there's NBA players that have more championships. Russell has 11, almost double Jordan. He won 8 in a row. He won rookie season. What's your excuse for that one? Let me hear it. Tweet at me at yourboybrian25, which is right here. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, you can't see it no more. I'm on Facebook. I'm pointing to nothing. I just don't see it happen. I just don't see how these people put these players on pedestals because of, championships. If that's the narrative you're setting, then Eli Manning's better than Dan Marino. You'd rather have Eli Manning on your team as your starting quarterback than Dan Marino. You'd rather have Brad Johnson as your starting quarterback than Warren Moon. That's the narrative that you're setting, right? Oh, Brian, there's different reasons. There's different reasons. He was postseason. Well, you still got to get there. And I'm just not changing my theory that Joe Montana is some great quarterback. I'm telling you, he doesn't even on my list, maybe if he's lucky on a good day, makes number 12 on my list. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the OST, the Opinionated Sports Talk Show, debate, dispute, controversy with your boy Brian. Had a little problem with the recording, but I will post a full recording that I have on my phone. I put it back on my regular camera, that's why it looks funny. Try Guru Energy Drink. Thank you guys. All organic, no GMO. Energy Now, Crash Later. Also check out the sports app, Sports Connect Us. Very good app. It's kind of cool. It's a sports app and it connects people. That's what it's called, Sports Connect Us. Thank you guys for listening. The OST Show. Find us on iHeartRadio. The podcast is on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and soon to be on Spotify. Everyone have a good night, and I'll be back next week. Go Dubs.